I'm a 28-year-old male. My mama died not long after I was born. Dad married Tina when I was 7. She had a daughter, also 7, from a previous relationship named Diana. Diana and I didn't get along. Diana was spoiled. It was obvious she resented not being the only child anymore. She took it out on me. She would break my toys, steal my stuff, and lie to get me in trouble. I would complain to Dad and Tina, but they told me to get over it. If I did the same, I would get punished. It only got worse as we got older. I felt abandoned by my dad. I often felt lonely in my house. So I guess you guys can see who the golden child was. At 16, Diana spread a nasty rumor about me in school, and I almost got expelled. Diana got caught lying and got suspended. Of course, Dad and Tina blamed me for this. That was the last straw for me. I rang my cousin Shyla from my mama's side and told her what happened. She came over to my house angry at Tina and Dad. She gave them a piece of her mind. Dad said she was welcome to have me if it bothered her so much. That was a blow to my heart to hear my dad say that to me. So Shyla and I went to pack my stuff. Diana's room was open and she was sitting on her bed smirking at me. We got my stuff and we left. I haven't looked back since. Over the years, neither Dad nor even Diana tried to contact me, but I would block all attempts. Now, a week ago, Shyla visited me. She told me that she got a message from Dad for me. I was surprised she even mentioned Dad since she knew how I felt about him. She told me that Diana was in a fatal accident and didn't make it. She said he wanted to talk to me. Shyla handed me his number and said it's up to me. I did ring him out of curiosity more than anything. He didn't even recognize my voice. But when I told him it was me, he broke down crying, and most of the time I couldn't understand what he was saying. When he calmed down, he said my sister died and it's time to come back home and make things right with each other. I asked, "What sister? I have no sister." He started crying and saying, "Don't do this, she doesn't deserve this." This enraged me and I just let out all my anger, hurt and frustration I'd felt towards them and ended with, "I don't care if she died." My girlfriend, who was beside me, took my phone off me and ended the call for me. Glad she did before I'd said any more. She told me later that I could have been more understanding. I've had time to think it over and wonder if she is right and if I am the idiot. Not the idiot. Your father enabled you to be abused in your own home and then tossed you out when he was called out. Now his golden child is dead and he suddenly remembered he has a consolation child. Hard no. You've more or less moved on from your dad's rejection and you owe him nothing at this point. Could you have been more empathetic? Sure, but he threw away your love and empathy when you were 16. He failed as a father. He doesn't get to waltz back and pretend nothing happened just because he's feeling sad. It's not even about OP and their non-existent relationship. His dad literally said, "Don't do this to her." It's still about Diana. I'm not saying her funeral shouldn't be, but if there was going to be any type of reconciliation, it needed to be Dad taking accountability for his actions and not because Diana has passed. His dad wants him to show up and play the part of the grieving son and brother. For OP, there's nothing to mourn or grieve, and that's because of the parents' actions. On a side note, you must have a very serious conversation with your girlfriend about how you were treated growing up. It can be hard for people who didn't grow up with crappy parents or families to understand that just because their family was good, it's not the case for you, and there's no hope for reconciliation. I agree. OP, you have a lot of hurt bottled up for over 21 years of putting up with golden child Diana and then being disregarded by your dad and stepmother, only for him to throw you away like nothing. You deserve better, and now he's coming back to you because stepsis died. Please get some therapy and allow your girlfriend to attend if you're comfortable doing so. My mid-30s female husband John, mid-30s, has been having an affair for almost 2 years. I noticed he was acting suspiciously about a year and a half ago. I didn't have any proof, but circumstantial evidence pointed me to his co-worker Eva, early to mid-20s female. My husband would always make excuses to be at work and on his phone. Other co-workers on his team were not doing the same hours. I did a little snooping and contacted Eva's boyfriend, Nick, on social media and asked him if Eva was also increasing her time at work. Nick replied that he had also noticed Eva acting suspiciously but didn't have solid evidence of an affair. We agreed to work together to figure out what was going on. Little by little, the evidence started to pile up, and we were staring at an affair in the making. We made a plan to get tangible proof. A couple of months later, they had a work trip. Eva had packed lingerie and John had protection. That was enough proof for both of us. Nick and I hatched a plan for revenge. Our estate is no fault, so that an affair wouldn't help me in the divorce. However, we knew they used their work phones to conduct the affair. We put together the evidence, the deleted messaging apps on their phones, the increased work hours, John volunteering Eva for a promotion, reimbursed credit card charges, and sent it to their work. HR questioned John and Eva, and they were both asked to resign. John and his family were deeply unhappy because I went to his work, HR. He lost his job for a personal matter. He said that I should have confronted him before he got into an affair instead of waiting for him to trip up. He also accused me of having an emotional affair with Nick. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Turning people in for rules they broke while hurting you is not revenge, it's justice. Lying about them would have been unjustly vengeful. He made his choices, using the company credit card for his affair, etc. OP, this is excellent work. I hope you can find happiness. It's not the wife's job to prevent the husband from having an affair, LMAO. He shouldn't be doing that in the first place. Right, like, really, dude? If you can't keep it in your pants, it's not the wife's job to lock you up. Like, nah. And if she confronts you, you'll be more careful so you won't get caught. Your husband is delusional to accuse you of having an emotional affair and acting like the victim when he cheated on you for 2 years. And he got his affair partner a promotion as a cherry on top. I hope you rake him over the coals. You know what they say about a woman scorned? He wouldn't have lost his job if he wasn't doing anything wrong in the workplace. If he wasn't stepping outside his marriage, your intuition wouldn't have been screaming that something wasn't right, resulting in your own little investigation. Trying to blame you for not confronting him is ridiculous. Good investigation. Now for the best revenge, a life well lived. Forget him and find what awaits you. A female teen, lived 1 week with my dad and another with my mom. They divorced 3 years ago and my mom has been dating John for a year. John and I don't hate each other, but we're not close. We all live in the same town as most of my dad's side of the family. So besides my music lesson, I also hung out a lot with my cousins and didn't spend much time around John. A month ago, John and his daughter Trisha, tween, moved into my house temporarily because of a fire at theirs. My house has 2 bedrooms, so Trisha has to stay in my room. My bed is a bunk bed because I was getting a sister, but my mom miscarried. Trisha and I hung out only a few times before this, but I can say the same about her and John. I don't hate her, but she turns out to be hard to live with. She has long hair and it's everywhere. She talks in her sleep, and I was woken up 5 or 6 times since her stay. She also sometimes tried to speak to me when I turned off my lamp, a sign I was going to sleep. I talked to my mom and she said I needed to be nicer to her since she's been through a lot, that my issues were just minor inconveniences and that Trisha would be back at her own home soon, late next month. I talked to my dad, who said I could move in with him until Trisha leaves. I then packed my bags and told my mom I'd be staying at Dad's. She blew up at me, saying what a spoiled brat I am and that I'm making John and Trisha feel horrible for imposing. I just left. It's been a week now and my mom never contacted me. She dropped my Christmas presents at my grandma's because my dad and I would celebrate Christmas there. I don't think my mom can get the law involved because I'm a teen and I just have to tell them the living situation and they should understand. Besides, it's only until I can have my room back again. Still, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. A house fire is pretty traumatic. Your mom's boyfriend and his daughter probably lost everything they had, including sentimental things. Your mother is kind to take in her boyfriend and his daughter, but you're stuck sharing a room with someone you don't know well. I think it's perfectly reasonable to stay with your dad until they move back out. Your mother has no right to criticize you for not wanting to share a room. You're not wrong to spend some extra time with your dad. Just be aware that your mom and her boyfriend might decide to make this permanent, so ensure you have everything you care about out of your room. Make another trip if you need to. Jesus, what a leap. A month and a half of temporary living situation that was not precedented or planned whatsoever. This is where parents teach their kids empathy and caring for others in bad situations. OP is lucky enough to have another option, and I'm genuinely glad it works out that way for them. Because their mom isn't putting them through something terrible or unreasonable, I wouldn't be on OP's side on this. OP, you are the idiot. Your mom is right that the mature, kind thing would be just to deal with it for a few weeks to help a kid who just dealt with such a horrible and terrifying experience. You're a teen and you're allowed to be less than perfectly mature. Mature thing is just suck it up. What the heck? I disagree with this point. Nothing is immature about not wanting to share a room when she has another readily available option. It's not like she told her mom to kick them out, she just left the situation. I wonder if mom intends to make this bedroom situation permanent and is fuming that her daughter hasn't gone with the plan. My sister has 2 now adult kids. Her son is 21 and her daughter is 18, and both of them told her in the last month or so that they plan to change their names legally. My nephew is George and my niece is Catherine. The kids always had nicknames as kids and asked people not to use their whole names, but it was my niece who was the most vocal about the hatred she had for her name. She said Catherine made her think of the old lady who lived down the street from her, and she felt like it was a really old lady's name or a name someone who wanted to appear so mature would have. She wanted a name that sounded younger, and in middle school she started to go by the name Ember, after a character she adored in a book. Ember has stuck and she plans to make that her legal name. George was never as outspoken, but in the last few years, mostly since he moved out of his parents' house, he has been Ryder to his friends. Now he's decided he wants to make Ryder his legal name. My sister was upset with one wanting to change, but with both, she's got a mixture of sadness and anger about it. She and my niece have argued a lot. My sister told her wanting to sound young is a dumb reason to change her name. She told her the name Catherine has a lot of history surrounding it and sounds far more adult than she now is. She told her she just wanted a trendy modern name and couldn't see the benefit of having a real name. She hasn't been as harsh with my nephew, but she goes more for the guilt trips with him, and she's tried with my niece too, just more with my nephew. It got to the point that I heard from both my niece and nephew that their mom is driving them crazy, and my nephew is considering changing his middle name like his sister plans to change hers since their mom is being so extreme about this. My niece said she doesn't want either name her mom gave her and would rather just have a first name than carry around names she doesn't like. So I decided to talk to my sister, and she told me she didn't want to hear what I had to say. She told me they're her kids, and she has every right to try to convince them to do the right thing. I told her she should still lay off the guilt trips, or she might find she hears way less from her kids than she does now, and they might be less inclined to tell her stuff in the future, which she also wouldn't like. She told me to leave after telling me I had crossed a line. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot for not telling your niece and nephew that the names they chose are dumb. Your sister is right that changing your name to sound younger is dumb. I changed my name to something cool when I was 20. I got my bachelor's and master's in that name, but I realized it was stupid, trendy and self-indulgent as I aged. When I got married, I used it as a chance to restore my birth name. I feel like an idiot for what I did, and I'm so embarrassed when I have to explain that decade of my life where I had a different name. Not the idiot. Names are personal, and it matters more that your nibblings are happy and validated than your sister's ego and preferences. She can change her name to Catherine George if she loves them so much. I say this as someone who cannot get some people to stop using my legal name for the life of me. I hate it so much. It's like nails on a chalkboard being referred to that way. But repeat after me. Mind your own business. This is literally not your business. Her relationship with her kids is hers to manage, not yours. The more you interfere, the more likely you will be asked to take sides. You've done enough. They're all adults and they need to sort this out themselves. Just be the supportive aunt and don't preach at sister. I dated a girl for about a year 4 years ago. It was getting pretty serious, but I was also suffering from some mental health stuff and she couldn't cope with it. She decided to leave and broke my heart. It was pretty significant for me, but I've moved on since then and been to counselling. I don't think about her anymore. That was until last week when I got wind from a friend that one of my closest friends just slept with my ex. I confronted him about it and he confirmed it. He wasn't apologetic at all. He told me that they bumped into each other after not communicating for years. Then they met for coffee and soon after went back to his place. He showed me the text messages they've had since, which confirmed that they hadn't spoken in years and that all the messages when she and I were dating were purely non-romantic. I told him that he'd crossed a line and that friends shouldn't sleep with ex's friends. He told me that he's free to sleep with whoever he wants, and so is she, as two consenting adults. It's been 4 years since we broke up, and while it might be hurtful to me, it has nothing to do with me. I'm really considering cutting this guy out of my life now, but I'd like some perspective. Am I the idiot for arguing with my friend over this? Not the idiot overall. Your friend is right. They can have intimacy as much as they want to, and there's nothing you can do or say about it. However, the freedom to do something doesn't mean it will be without consequences, so pointing out their consenting adults is apropos of nothing. What you can do, however, is decide whether you want to remain friends with him. They may continue, and they might even have a relationship. If you don't want to stick around and sit on the sidelines for that, you're absolutely free not to do that. You can't control what your friend does, but you can control who you're friends with. Friends shouldn't sleep with ex's friends. I think this rule has an expiry date, and he didn't jump on her the moment you broke up either. Get some therapy, because this whole incident reads that you haven't dealt with your mental health problems. This woman is free from any obligation to you. Your friend has done nothing wrong by you. Agree, dude, it's been 4 years. It's not like this is your ex-wife or the mother of your children. It's a girl you dated for a year several years ago. You are the idiot if you interfere with them or guilt your friend. You haven't had time to process their relationship at all. I suggest giving yourself time to get your head around it before doing anything in haste.